Hey lovely people, hope you're having a fantastic start to your Friday, and I am super pumped to talk about this topic because I think it's something that definitely impacts everybody on such a huge level, where we sometimes have those like hidden blocks, or we have those frustrations of like, why am I either continuing to have the same experience show up again and again, or why is this not working for me? Why am I actually not getting to where I want to be? Or why can't I create the money? Or why can't I have the relationship? Or why can't I have the house? Or like whatever it is that's actually happening for you, where you feel most blocked as well. Hey Erica, great to have you on, sweetheart. You're always so gorgeous. So this is such an important topic because and this is something I could honestly talk about for at least 6 hours. Hey Sandra, great to have you on as well too, hun. It is such a deep and comprehensive topic, and I'm not going to pretend that I can obviously cover everything that really blocks us, but I do want to talk about a couple of things in particular, and those things are particular is, number one, where are our thoughts going currently? So how do we actually think and feel about that particular topic like right now? So I really want to talk about that. But the other thing that I really want to talk about is subconscious or unconscious patterns of behavior that can kind of come out like definitely like self-sabotage programs as well. Or there'll just be behavior going on and you'll be like, what is going on? Like, I don't get why I'm acting that way, or I don't, like, you might just have feelings that you feel unsettled. Hey Chris, great to have you on. Good morning. You feel unsettled, you feel a bit uneasy, but you can't actually articulate it, you can't put your finger on it, you can't really identify what's actually going on. And a lot of that comes from deep subconscious beliefs of something that's happened in the past, where you've believed something at a deep level, there's been a large emotion attached to it, therefore it's penetrated the subconscious mind at a deep level, because that's where our long-term memory is stored, and how it's stored. Hey Anne, lovely to have you on, honey. Is through deep emotion and having an impactful experience. So those two things, like whenever there's been an experience, whether it's heightened ecstatic joys or the lowest of lows, whenever that's actually happened, it goes in at a very deep level at the subconscious mind, and then we make a meaning of it, either consciously or unconsciously. And this all happens like in about a second. So it's not something that generally most people are conscious of, but it's something I've certainly been working on like over the last 10 years. When things happen, I consciously ask myself a question: what's the empowering meaning that I can make? Because we make up story, everything's made up. So nothing is in reality the way that that we actually perceive it. And I know that might sound like a big statement, but there's an event that happens, and so our subconscious mind goes searching for an event that was similar in the past that's actually happened, and it's like, oh, well, that was because of that. And generally it'll come back to some feeling, particularly if it's either a traumatic event or an upsetting event, or a sad event, or any of those things. If it's a negative, how we've perceived it as a negative event, we will have made a meaning on that very subconsciously from something in the past as well. So we all have this very human belief that I'm not enough, and because I'm not enough, I won't be loved. And everybody has this belief, but everybody has their own individual story as to why that's true and why they believe that's true. And they'll look for evidence continually to support why that's actually true for them. This set me free on such a deep level. Because generally, and this blocks us big time in, anything that we're actually desiring, because it's that fear that we're not worthy, or it's that fear that we're not enough, or it's that fear that we can't have it, or that fear that we're going to be judged or rejected or not accepted, or any of those things that actually plays out in such a huge way. Hey Jerry, great to have you on. And if you guys have any questions around this as well, like, feel free to fire anything at me. I'm more than happy to chat and definitely interact about this as well, because it is such a huge topic. And so like I said, one of those events from the past. So for me, like, I had loads of stuff around body image. So I always believed I wasn't enough, or I was rejected because I wasn't thin enough and I wasn't pretty enough. And so I had this story in my head that I was playing, that I was fat and ugly. And that played out until I was like 32, when I actually learned like a lot about this inner work. Hey Mark, great to have you on. And really started to, like, everybody's obviously heard of body dysmorphia and things like that, but for me it was very, like, a very deep-seated belief, and a lot of that had come from, like, as a child, people would walk up. I did have, like, super chubby cheeks as a child. I was a chubby child, and so, like, pretty soon I learned in my head, in my story, that I was chubby. Now everybody else is going to have, like, their own version of whatever this is. It may not be at all about body. It might be around not being smart enough, or not being intelligent enough, or not being strong enough, or being too emotional, or, like, there could be, like, a plethora of things around all of this as well. But we all have, hey PJ, great to have you on, gorgeous. We all have these things that have played out since childhood. So anytime that there's an event that happens, if we don't stop ourselves and consciously ask ourselves, what do I actually choose to make this mean? What's an empowering meaning that I could make this mean? Oh, it could mean that I could learn something about myself, or learn something about life, learn something about other people, or I can reframe it. This is a gift. This is to help me grow, or this is to help me see things in clearer perspective. But a lot of the time, unless we're actually challenging our unconscious mind or our subconscious mind, it'll just make up a meaning automatically. And a lot of the time, it's a very disempowering meaning, or it means that we're not enough, or see, I failed again, or see, look, you know, this is why my life is the way it is, because I can never get things right, or whatever story it is that you've told yourself. And, you know, we can all have those stories. I need to be more perfect, or I need to be this, or I need to be that. And a lot of those thoughts then play out and they play out in the next phase, which is what I'm wanting to talk about, in where our focus goes. Because however you're feeling every single day literally is your attraction point for that particular subject. And of course, you know, if you're in a great relationship and you feel really positive about that relationship, you're going to have a different set of beliefs around relationships. You're going to have a different set of therefore actions that you take in relationships. So you're going to be more open, you're going to be more receptive, you're going to be more loving, all of those things. And therefore, because you're taking those actions, you're going to get a set of results, and therefore from those results they're going to reinforce the same beliefs and the same feelings. Oh, relationships feel good to me, relationships are great, like all of those things. Now, no doubt, all of you have had different experiences probably in relationships, just the same as what I have, and so we can have some negative thoughts about relationships. But if that's where majority of our focus is going, and because of the past experience, we continue to go back there, see, look, this is why I fail in relationships, I'm no good in relationships, I'm terrible in relationships, or there's nobody out there for, like, all of those beliefs, then what action is it that you're going to take? You know, we tend to withdraw, we tend to want to hide ourselves, we tend to not want to put ourselves out there, or risk, or be courageous, or be vulnerable, or any of those things. So our actions become diminished, therefore the results that we get are either non-existent or not the results that we desire, and therefore then that goes on to reinforce those same beliefs and those same feelings that relationships are bad, hard, terrible. Like, I had a lot to clean up with beliefs around relationships as well, but primarily that was because of the relationship that I actually had with myself. And like I said at the start, it wasn't until like 31, 32 when I actually, my whole life kind of fell apart as it was, which was a blessing in disguise. Certainly didn't feel that way at the time, but there was radical shifts. Like, everything in my life was just literally dropping away and falling away, and it was a very painful time in my life. But it also brought me to be the person that I am today, because without those experiences, I could never have gotten the lessons around self-love and gratitude and everything, which is what, like, I teach like a lot today, and certainly work with my clients on as well. So hey Jane, great to have you on. So all of these things really are very very impactful. So our beliefs are everything, but more so like the subconscious programming. And I want to take it like the next step. And a lot of people can feel really uncomfortable with this emotion, and it is the emotion of shame. And I've been doing a lot more, I guess, like inner work, certainly on myself around this, but doing a lot more reading on this as well. With, if anybody's familiar with Brene Brown's work, she studies shame. So she figures out, what actually causes these feelings of shame and these feelings of humiliation and everything else, and how that can actually really play out. Hey Paula, great to have you on, gorgeous. How that can really play out in our life. And like I even caught myself last night when I seemed to have a big win, I have these feelings of shame around success. And some of that, has come in from my childhood, but what I actually also realized that some of that was also role modeled to me as well from different circumstances. And it's like, so when we're taking in that information and seeing somebody else either in a highly emotional state, or we feel scared, or we feel worried, or we are in a highly emotional state, all of that gets implanted as very deep subconscious thoughts and beliefs that sometimes we don't even normally recognize or even become consciously aware of, unless we're actually either really self-aware or you're working with somebody at a very deep level as well. Good morning, Jane. Thanks so much for saying hi. So this is, and if you've got any questions as well, for those that have just jumped on, please pop anything in there as well. If there's an area that or just a question that you have about anything, please feel free to pop that in there as well. So where shame really plays out, shame is one of the hardest emotions I think that we feel as a human being, because it's really that feeling for me, like when I feel a sense of shame, I feel like I'm so bad that I actually don't deserve to live. Like it's, and it's not that, there's no suicidal thoughts or anything like that, but it's this deep feeling of unworthiness, this deep feeling of not feeling loved. And I think that we can all feel that at times, and when we do, it's incredibly painful. And knowing full well like how to be able to move yourself out of that is also super important. And for anybody that's worked with me for a while, or anybody that's familiar with my work, I use a lot of Byron Katie stuff, which is thework.com. So it's just www.thework.com. And she has some questions, some very powerful questions to enable us to start to question our thoughts and to open us up to a different level of thinking, and to actually get us out of our survival ego mind, which constructs all these different concepts, has all these different ideas about who we need to be in order to be loved, who we should and shouldn't be. Like all of these ideas have come in from mass consciousness, from conversations that we've had, from reactions that people have had around us, where we've been perceiving the world. And for myself, where my self-love, or where I really needed to learn that sense of self-love, I was 100% externally validated, and I didn't even know what that meant when I first heard it. And external validation is where we look for the validation, where we look for the confirmation from others that we're okay, or that we're enough, or that we are lovable. And of course, depending on who's around us, number one, if they're negative or positive people, or healthy or toxic relationships, we're going to get a variety of responses, obviously. And depending on how someone's day is going, if somebody's tired and not feeling great, their response is going to be maybe not as positive as what previous responses have been. So I found myself kind of like an autumn leaf. I felt like I was blown around all the time. I didn't have a sense of stability within myself. Now, I do understand that at a deeper level now, through using human design as well, which is powerful. You might want to check that out. There is a great website called jovian.com.au, which explains it all. I'm not going to go into it here, where this is really powerful for me because it helps me do what I do, which means I can feel what other people are feeling very easily. But in doing that, it was also a double-edged sword for me, and if you're slightly empathic, or or you feel like you're very empathic, you can pick up on other people, or you're sensitive to other people's emotions, and most people are to obviously some degree, and it is a thing that you can develop obviously further just by tuning in, but for me, like, I was highly sensitive as a child, and I didn't get that I was actually feeling a lot of what other people were feeling, and like I said, it helps me be brilliant at what I do today, but it also derailed me as well, because I would take what other people were feeling very personally, and I would think it was about me, so I'd make it all about me. So that's what the survival ego mind does, is we're not thinking about where somebody else is at or what's going on for somebody else. We're really stuck in that mindset of, oh my God, what have I done wrong? Or they don't like me, or I'm not worthy enough, and we all tend to replay that old story as well. So by understanding what those deeper questions are for yourself, or what subconscious patterns are playing out, you know, what story are you continually telling yourself, I'm not good enough, or I'm going to be rejected, or thinking about each subject of where you want to create change in life, whether it's relationship, whether it's money, whether it's with your health and physical well-being. Hey Chrissy, great to have you on, hun. All of these things will make a massive impact as well when you get clear on what is the emotion, what's the main emotion that you're actually experiencing when you think about that particular subject, because that will be your continual attraction point. So if you're feeling frustration, you're going to continue attracting circumstances that keep you frustrated. And knowing how to shift and change your emotions without actually having the external circumstances change is one of the most powerful things, most powerful gifts that we can actually give to ourselves as well. Hey Anne, lovely to have you on, hun. Because when we're able to do that, you actually then start to magnetize yourself in a very powerful way for whatever it is that you are actually wanting to create. Remembering that the more positive that you feel about something, the better action you're going to take, therefore the results that you're going to get, therefore it's an upward feedback loop as opposed to a negative or a downward spiral feedback loop as well. So this is super powerful, but it all comes back to when you think about that particular subject, are you thinking about the lack of it or what you don't have with that, or are you thinking about what you're looking forward to or what it is that you're wanting to create? Now, depending on where you are emotionally and your emotional set point, hey Taylor, great to have you on, will all make a huge difference as to what is the next thought that you need to think, or what are the new beliefs then that you need to instill around that particular subject. So a couple of questions that I like to use, which really helps me to dig deep and figure out why I'm blocking myself or what it is that's actually playing out. Hey Alyssa, great to have you on, hun. Is now that I have whatever it is that you're wanting to create, I feel, and so write in and like all the positives. So now that I have the money that I want, now that I have the relationship, and be specific. So when you say the money that you want, you know, whether that's an extra $1,000 a week, or whether it's an extra 20,000 in your bank account, or whether it's, an extra million, or whatever it is. Like, I'm obviously throwing heaps of different figures out there because it'll be different for everybody just depending on where you're currently at. So now that I have what it is that I want, and obviously it doesn't have to be about money, it could be the relationship, it could be the car, it could be the house, it could be something more material, or it could be confidence or an emotion. So then I feel blah, blah, blah. And then what you actually want to do after you've written down all the reasons why, and like why you want that, how you're going to feel, how excited you're going to be, and what that's going to feel like, then you write down underneath, why would I not choose that? And this is a powerful question. And at first you'll get probably surface responses. Hey Di, great to have you on, hun. At first you'll probably get some surface responses, which is like, because I can't be bothered, or because it's too hard, or because I can't do it, or because like whatever will come up. But keep asking the question, why would I not choose that? Why else would I not choose that? Why else would I not choose that? And if you keep going long enough with that and are prepared to go deep and are prepared to be really honest and vulnerable, and a lot of the time this is coming from your subconscious mind, you're not actually sitting there consciously going, oh, well, why would I not? It's more like an instant response that comes from the deep subconscious. They call it subconscious streaming. And it's a very powerful way of actually eliciting some of those deeper beliefs. And for me, when I've been doing this work, I know the second that I've hit the biggest reason or the biggest block that I have around that particular thing, because generally I'll cry. And it's like, oh my God, that's exactly it. So keep going with those questioning to get to that. And then I use the Byron Katie work to clear that work as well, which is, you know, how do I feel when I believe that thought? How do I feel if I didn't believe that thought? And you will just come back to like a greater sense of peacefulness within yourself as well. So it's a very, very powerful way of definitely coming back to your truest self. The largest part of you already knows that you can have, be, and do anything that you desire. It's only the ego's survival mind that has all these limitations, that has all these blocks, and the subconscious mind as well, which is, you know, from those deep patterning, from mass consciousness, from all the beliefs of, you know, all the environmental things that we've picked up, or how we've seen other people behave, either around money or in relationships, or with whatever it is that you're wanting to create as well for yourself. So I hope that's been helpful. Rewrite the statement as well, like, now that I have, I feel, and the positive of what came up, so the opposite. So if you, I know I had a lot around, I'm actually getting prepared to do a physique comp next year, which will be really exciting for me. And I had a lot of fear around actually feeling safe as a woman, being in my top physical shape. And so then I got to write it, you know, I get to feel safe, and I get to feel confident, and I get to feel secure, and I get to feel loved and appreciated and cherished and adored, and all those things. So I wrote down the opposite of what my fears actually were. So whatever your fears were, I know for money, like, I've had like a lot of stuff that I've needed to work through around judgment. Thank you, Erica. I'm glad that that's been helpful for you, hun. So I had a lot of fear of being judged from others. So then when I rewrote the story, it was all about, yeah, now that I have this amount of money, I feel amazing, I feel confident, I feel financially secure and stable. And I also feel that I inspire others, I feel appreciated, I feel loved, I feel like I can contribute at a different level. All of those things then that are really the opposite of obviously feeling judged. So it's a great thing to do. Good morning, Lisa. I'm about to jump off, sweet, so you may want to go back to the start and play it again at another time, or when it works for you, hun. But of course, like, if anybody's got any questions, I'm always here to certainly to help, and I'm certainly wanting to make a difference. And particularly, I love working with all people, but I am particularly passionate about empowering women, simply because of my own personal journey as well. So if you've got any questions at all, or you're thinking, yeah, look, I need to make some changes, or I definitely want 2019 to be different, or you feel blocked around a particular area, definitely reach out to me, send me a PM. We can jump in, do a complimentary strategy session, see where you're at, and see if and how I might be able to help you moving forward as well. And it's such a powerful thing to do, particularly at the start of the year as well. So lots of love to you all. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your Friday and a great weekend, and I will catch you all next week. Big love. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye.